What is up, Allie G Show fam? I am your host, Allie G, and welcome back for another track of the pod. This podcast, as you know, is all about movement, mindset, and the stories behind all of the miles that you guys and so many others put in. Today's guest is a returning favorite and friend, Tim Carvin, and we are diving into one of the most unique races I've heard of in a long time, the $1 Ultra based in New York City. Imagine signing up for a race where you don't know the course until race morning. You put $1 in the pot every single lap, and the race doesn't end until there's one runner left standing. Tim is going to take us behind the scenes of his nearly 68-mile day through the streets of New York City, from navigating Times Square in the middle of the chaos with the Knicks winning and the World Cup happening, and, dialing in on his pacing, nutrition, and mindset for one very unforgettable adventure. So with that, let's get into it. Here is my conversation with my good friend, Tim Carvin. It's been a year. Damn. Tim. Welcome back to the Allie G Show. I'm so happy that you're back here. I'm excited for today. We're going to talk all things $1 Ultra, how you're feeling, but I love it. Just welcome to the pod. I've heard so much already. I can't wait for you to share with the people listening.
Yeah, excited to be back. I feel like coming off of one of the more fun races I've ever done, and kind of unique things I think I've ever done in the racing community space. So
for sure,
it's a good thing to talk about.
That's right. It's definitely unique. I'm going to ask you to talk about, the sign up process and what the draw was like with regards to like how much info you got beforehand, where you started, all those things. But for anyone who may have missed your first appearance on the pod, first of all, they should go back and listen to your first track because it was amazing and one of my favorites of all time, obviously. But give the listeners a quick refresher, who you are, where you're from, what you do, and what's been going on in your running world lately other than the $1 Ultra.
So my name's Tim. I'm a, local runner from New York City. I, definitely enjoy doing all the big, road runners races, the marathon every year and stuff like that. But I also just really love the unsanctioned, weird kind of races that they do. Especially since we last spoke, I've done a handful of ultra marathons, I had done a few in the past, but nothing of the distances that I've now done. But I, this past weekend, competed in the $1 Ultra that I feel like has started to get, a lot of social media attention and stuff like that. It was an event in New York City that, you want me to give like the background of like what it is and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So it's basically, this is the second year they did it. I did not do it the first year just because of timing, but I was like, I knew about it, but only because like I'm like in the unsanctioned racing world of New York City. Like it was not a big thing. I think they had, 30, 40 people, and it's a backyard ultra, which is a format. It's the same Barkley Marathon guy, like Laz, like invented this thing. If you've ever seen that documentary, but you run every hour 4.17 miles. And then you can time it however you want. You can walk it, you can run it, you can sprint it, you can jog it. And then at the next hour, you do it again and again and again and again until there's one person standing. So, it's a thing that it's an interesting format. I've never done anything with the real built-in rests like that. And it's also a format that just brings out the, the crazies in the running world to want to try such a thing. You know what I mean? So I remember hearing about it last year. I had a race the following morning. It was Team Champs, which like I run with Central Park Track Club. It's a huge day for all the teams. Like the points count double and like the point series and stuff like that. So I remember being there at 7 a.m. and all of us are huddled around in the corral, like looking and being like, oh my God, there's still people doing that stupid thing, like blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God, I got to do that. That sounds so freaking cool. Like, so I definitely had it on my radar this year, and it definitely also got some more attention and became like a bigger thing because when they announced the date, there was like a big like application process, and nothing too crazy, but like it wasn't like you could just sign up and be in or whatever.
Right.
But luckily, like, I got an entry, which just involved, I then just had to kind of commit to going to do it, and you paid upfront deposit of $24. So the people who didn't come, they lost their deposit. But like the whole thing with the $1 ultra is every lap you put $1 in this big jar that one of the race directors, either Austin or Vic, were holding, and you do that every single time you go, and at the end the winner just takes home the jar. So it was like, I think it was like $2,000 or something. When all
That's
was said and
so
done.
sick.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like the vibe, and it was so. Last year they did it like in a park on the west side of Manhattan, like just kind of set up and like whatever. And I think they got in like all sorts of trouble with like the parks department and stuff because it went into like 2:00 in the morning, and it's also just like a big unpermitted like gathering or whatever. So like I think they got in trouble. So this year, with more of an interest, there were going to be a couple hundred people to do it or whatever. They got this bar, Printers Alley, which is on 40th Street and like 8th Avenue, 7th Avenue, to like host us. So we started at 6 a.m. on Saturday. So at 5:15 in the morning, the bar's open, they have water going, whatever, like had everything you'd need, and let them just like set up. And this place is huge. We took over like the entire first floor. I just had like my duffel bag with my candy and my, like whatever. I'll talk about like the nutrition stuff later.
Oh,
but
for
like,
sure.
I had my stuff like just in a booth of like a bar, you know what I mean? And it was me and 5 other people like sharing the space, but it was very comfortable. There was like real bathrooms. There was, like all the things that like you'd want. So it was great. At like 7 a.m. I think there was a bartender there who was like doing coffee, but also like what people were drinking and stuff, because a lot of people had like friends just chilling at the bar. They'd go out and run their lap, and you like come back here
and they'd be there.
So there were a lot of people.
You could have a little crew, I guess.
There were plenty of people there, and then I had kind of like a rotating crew of friends through the day who either, jumped in and ran with me or like just were along the space. Like my friend Susan, like went out in like bought popsicles and then popped out 3 different times with just like a box of cold popsicles because like, it was to be very clear, whenever this drops or whatever, it was June 13th. It was hot as ever loving whatever. It was not like pleasant conditions to do this. Oh, by the way, like a normal backyard ultra is called that because like these things are normally done like in a farm or on a ranch, and you run a 4-mile circle on like this really nice, comfortable like trail, and it's, shaded or whatever. Like that's like what the norm of this stuff is. Our course was like, let me be very clear. You had to go up 7th Avenue and Broadway through Times Square to Columbus Circle and then to the boathouse, whichever way you want to go, in the middle of Central Park on a Saturday that was like gonna go down. It's like, I've lived in New York since 2000. It was one of the craziest days I've ever been in New York because it was the Knicks championship. And even like bigger than that, honestly, during the day was Brazil was playing Morocco in like Jersey.
In MetLife,
all the fans, I think everything, like, you can go from Penn, but a lot of the stuff is like from that Times Square area. So like by 9 o'clock, it was just packed out with these people with the jerseys and like whatever. It's like a thing where you gotta kind of lean into it. I knew it was gonna be something stupid and crazy like this. Like, I mean, that's what, like whatever.
It's what we signed up for.
Yeah, but dude, like when they told, and by the way, we didn't know the course. We didn't know where it started till like a month out or whatever. But like it was 5:35 in the morning when Austin told us the course. So like, it's just like, it's not like we knew anything. Like it was just like, all right, let's roll. And I think I think there were 200 signups, but like, let's say there was probably like 130 or so people like started the race.
Yeah.
And, the vast majority were there for like the long term. You know what I mean? Like, it was, I remember like those first laps. Cause like, so what I was doing was I was really training the last few months, like run walk type situation, like really, dedicated. I would do 3 minutes on, 1 minute off, like lock in like that. This course didn't really allow you to do that, but I'm still glad like I trained that way because you did have to stop a lot to like not get hit by a car or like to just cut through people. Like there's no like running lane in Times Square. Like you're just like weaving through the people and like, there's you'd go one way because by the time it's, noon, you've done this 6 times. And it's like, okay, that guy who's the gorilla, he really doesn't get out of our way. But like, if you go this way, there's someone dressed up like a robot and like, he seems cool. So like he moves and like cheers us on and stuff. So it's like, where to go. Cause like you're going through the belly of the beast of that stuff. And then when we got to Central Park, there were a lot of different things people did. Some people stayed on the road. Some people like whatever. I went straight up like I run like a lot of like the OSR races. I think we talked about on the last one, Orchard Street Runners, which those are oftentimes checkpoint races. And once we got into Central Park, the rules of this kind of became, this is a checkpoint race. I just had to get to the boathouse. So like we were going over the grass, over a picnic area, doing all this stuff where some people are running like on the loop all proper and stuff. But like we went down through, was it Bethesda Fountain, like the big, like whatever, because you can cut around back. So like a huge amount of us were just cutting through the middle of the park, which, probably saved us a quarter mile a lap, which, when you're trying, like I did almost 67 miles if you like do the math out. So it's like that quarter mile, like that does make a difference. When
it makes a huge difference.
If you're doing it, however many times, and like, so it was, so you do the course kind of like that. The park was such a really nice reprieve in the middle of every lap because once you're out of Times Square, like running up the rest wasn't honestly that bad. Like Columbus Circle got annoying. There's like a food, I think it's like Smorgasburg or whatever that thing is, like has an activation there through the summer. So like, once like lunchtime rolled around, it was like, oh, okay, this is like kind of a thing we have to dodge or whatever. So that was kind of a pain. But once you were in actual Central Park, it was very nice. Like you're in the park, you can, deal with it. But then just knowing like, oh my God, we're leaving. Like we got to go back.
Yeah, we got to go back now.
Now we're going back through
freaking
Times Square. Like, it's really wild. You know what I mean?
That's so nuts.
Yeah, but making it back to the bar was key. So the lap's like 4.1, 4.2 miles, whatever. I was trying in the early going to like 45 minutes, 48 minutes was like about my goal. And for the first like probably 7 or 8 hours, I would come back, I'd sit down, I would eat, I would just relax. There was a downstairs bathroom. I would go. There was like upstairs ones that would have a lot of lines, and then there was like a
Mhm.
downstairs one that like if you walk downstairs, you could
You
deal
could
with
just
it. But
go.
like
Yeah.
I felt so good. I'm like, all right, no problem, like whatever, and like whatever. Like I remember like you'd go outside and there would be an announcement. So like it's Austin Lowe and Vic. Zaytoon, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, are the two guys who like founded this race. So like one
Mhm.
of the two of them would give like an announcement before each lap. And like sometimes it would just be, we're now like passing the marathon distance, blah, blah, blah. There were like giveaways after certain laps. After the second one, you get this really cool shirt. It's really fancy.
So sick.
With that, and then I'm back there.
I love that.
We got really expensive sunglasses at one point, which was real.
When
like
you
in like the
texted me
third,
that,
yeah, it was like I think I looked it up. It was like the third or the fourth loop. They must know somebody, but it's like a brand called 720 Armor. They're really nice sunglasses, and like but they're like $200 glasses. Like we all got them after like the third lap or whatever. Like so that was still
sick.
Yeah, they would do. This was never a thing because, like, this was like a stacked field, no matter what. Like, very bluntly, like there was some like I had in my mind like people I thought were gonna win and stuff like that. Because, like, again, like if you win, the guy who won the OSR 30 beat. I had a very nice OSR 30. I hit my goal. I did it under 4 hours. This dude beat me by like 80 minutes. Like legit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he's in the field. And like, I saw him at one point with like a wad of bills that looked like he must have had like $100. Like, I'm like, this dude is taking it into like two, like there was
he's
talk
going
around.
He's going into the next day.
There was the guy who came in second was like actively posting on social media beforehand, like, who's taking it into Monday with me, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, man, this is going to like become like, whatever. So, but, for a lot of people, when it passed the marathon distance, it's a big thing because, like, then you've run an ultra. That was a thing a lot of people were doing. Then, like, some people started to drop. When you got to, like, 50K, I think it was, like, the next round was, like, if you ran, like, another one, then you get to, like, a 50K. And they'd be like, oh, my, you've all run a 50K. A lot of people dropped then or the next one. But then, like, at like 12 hours, I remember at 12 hours, Kate, my girlfriend, met me at the boathouse. Like she was on her way to go out for the night. And like, we just chatted at the boathouse. And I was like, it's 12 hours in. And I had said to her that like, the most I'm doing is like, maybe I'll make it till 6 a.m. Like maybe I'll be able, if it was, maybe that would be like the biggest of stretch goals. And I remember her asking me, she's like, only like 12 and a half hours left to go. And I'm like, oh, there's no effing way. Like I told her, I'm like, there is that, like, I'm going to keep going, but like no chance. Like it just, was, so laughably like out of my head that I would like do that at that point. So I just kind of, tried to like lock in and like do whatever I could do. But like when it got to like, past the 12-hour mark, then when we were like getting called out, it was like, oh, okay, there's only like 50 of us left or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's now the field is like really like locked down because like the day that there were like 6-7 hours in there, like from 10 a.m. on, that I mean it was just so hot. And you're just running on, unless you're in Central Park, we would like run on the grass. And I feel like that honestly helped with like the temperature. But like for all the stuff, you're on pavement. It's just, sometimes there's buildings shading things, but for the most part, you're just in the middle of the sun. There was a spot, the route that we were running, where I'm going to associate this, this will be like my PTSD from this race. Like I did a 50 miler, but was like my first like foray into long ultras was last winter. I like with no real training jumped in and did the 50 miler, the Prospect Park Track Club one, and it did not go well. Like dude, but it like went so off the rails. Insane. Like I was in so much pain. That was like part of why I trained so hard for this one, because I'm like, okay, I respect this. Like this is I gotta pay a lot more respect to this type stuff. But if you've ever run Prospect, park, and it's, if you've ever done a Roadrunners race that's in New York, that's in Brooklyn, you usually do this part of the course, which is that big mother hill. It's called like Battle Hill. And like forever, that's locked in my mind because I did that 15 times during that ultra, and it would be like first part of the loop. And it was like, oh my God, it is the worst thing. So for this, it was running on, it's where like the band shell is for 72nd Street races in Central Park. It's like the I forget the name of it, but there's just this long stretch where they have like vendors during the day and stuff, but it is just pure asphalt. I think it had like just been redone. So it was just black asphalt. And it just felt so effing hot, like going on there. And
I would have been dying.
It was crazy. Like, I mean, I carried a water bottle that I would often fill 2 more times on the 4-mile loop. Like there were, you know, just, you'd stop at the water fountains in the park. Like there ended up being like 2 that I'm like, oh, these are the ones I actually like. So, you know, I'm going to stop at these. This is the better bathroom of like the ones that we pass. You know what I mean? So like you start to like lock in with this stuff.
I feel like you had the advantage because you already know the park so well.
Well, that's honestly,
so like, many miles.
No, of course, but I mean, like that was part of when I'm like, okay, this course, like I knew the starting point, and I started to really map out in my mind where I thought the course was going to be, and it was always, I figured they were going to just do a thing to the West Side Highway and up. Or West Side Highway and down or something was going to be what the course was. But I always did have in the back of my mind, like, these guys might go diabolical with this, which is like, and I'm not complaining. Like, that's like what this race is. And I'm like, oh, they went like all in because like it, which I get it and I appreciate it. And being in it, like it was, I wouldn't have it any other way because everyone else had to deal with it. You know what I mean? And like, I'll say, maybe when the course was announced, I heard a smattering of people like kind of complaining, like amongst like the riffraff in the bar, but like never again. Like everyone just kind of leaned into it and was like, all right, let's roll. Like this is
I mean, you have to, at that point.
I mean? Like, no, of course, absolutely. But like, you know, some people were like, oh my God, they're really like having us do this, and like, you know, they had a big crew of volunteers, and they made it so easy to like just whatever, but like it was definitely the hardest possible course that it could have been, you know what I mean? Which is, again, it's diabolical. Like it
is diabolical,
you know what I mean?
But you made it so many miles.
No, I'm very happy with like how I did. I made it into like I think me and another guy tied for 17th, which like so I at like so so let me just, I'll take you through kind of how it ended. Was, so you do the whole day by like, I think the game, the soccer game was, let's say like 6 o'clock. Like it was before the Knicks were like 8, 9 o'clock at night or whatever. The soccer was like 6 o'clock. At like 5 o'clock, Times Square actually became easier to do because they blocked off traffic from a certain way because I think they had these buses going. So we could like run in the street, which was like, so that was pretty nice. So I'm like, oh, this is like honestly getting easier. But then at like 7, the barricades started coming out because the Knicks were playing at whatever, like they played at, I think 8 o'clock, 8:30 or something, you know? And so in the bar that we were in, all our stuff for the people who were still doing it, which again is probably down to like 40 people at this point, all our stuff was in the back in this garden area, and the whole place was a Knicks watch party. One of the race directors had his car parked across the bar, and he's like, listen, you baby can like get in if you like have to into the bar, but he's like, put whatever you want in my car until the game is over, like whatever you need, like for this moment. He told us before one of the loops. So I just had like a smaller bag that I just threw in his back seat that just had like some nutrition and some like, you know, whatever packets. And he had like a jug of water, like all the stuff. It was fine. It ended up being like easier because you didn't have to go back into the bar, but we were just like chilling on a sidewalk at that point. There's no inside area. And then like I think it was the lap we did 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. was my like 15th lap. And it started to really start to not feel great. Like I probably for like an hour or two hadn't been able to eat, which like I if I ever
You portioned it out,
this,
right?
I did, but it became really hard, and it became like I really tried to be like as good about it as I could be, but also with the reality, like once you hit like 12 whatever hours, like, you know,
you're
a
dying.
lot of the things you read about this type of race is like the people who are gonna like win it are not only are they like incredible athletes or whatever, but they also like it's nutrition, it's being able to even like take on fuel 36 hours. You know, the guy who won did 37 loops. You know what I mean? He doubled me up. Like it's like it's wild. Yeah, like it's insane. Yeah. But yeah, so nutrition started to become tough. If I ever do this again, I've never used like I think it's like Tailwind is a brand that does it, like the water carbs. Like it's like a liquid, but it has like, you know, I think that's something that like I probably should look into because it just became like I can't like take in food right now. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that like definitely becomes an issue. But like so I had stopped being able to eat, and then like coming back were like the first of barricades where we had to be like, oh, we're going this way or like whatever, and there are cops. Then when we set out for the loop at 9 o'clock, I think it was, because I think I tapped at 10 o'clock, so this was my last loop. We had to like beg and plead both ways to get through like cop barricades. Crowds were getting crazy, and like because I think it was like almost halftime at like the Knicks game, so like they were like, I heard a cop say to someone, they're like, honestly, we're not prepared for them to win. Like we're like, if they lose, I think they were more worried like that, like, you know, whatever. Like it ended up, because I think it wound up being fine. So what they did after I tapped out, they did like 6 hours where they just ran up and down 40th Street because you could not get through anything. All the videos that you see of like the bus being on fire was like a block away. There at one point, I don't know exactly what happened, but like it's it like, you know, there was like a shooting or something, and that was like around the corner, and they had to like, you know, stop the race for a minute because the cops were like the cops were on it. Like the cops were very cool about everything. Like when all was said and done, like they did let us do this race. I don't know how like Austin and Vic made it that I'm shocked the cops weren't just like, F you, are you kidding me? You can't have like you need to move this, like, you know, whatever, because like again, this isn't like the marathon. There's you know what I mean, like so yeah, like so yeah, that was all fine. Like that all said and done, it was fine. But like yeah, when I tapped, they were running up and down on 40th Street, which is just so funny to me. But like yeah, it's unreal. It was yeah. But yeah,
oh no, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say yeah. So the way that it all worked was there was an app, and they told us about this in advance. And like they were like, the thing you have to do is keep your phone charged. And like they had power strips, they had like whatever. That ended up, it was a thing I was worried about, but I ended up like when I would come back, I had a power brick. I had like all the things. So like I would proactively on like the early laps, like charge my watch. I like ran a full loop with like a brick on my phone that just like got the phone back up to like 95%. So like when I was done, all my stuff were like definitely low. Like I was like, I'm gonna have to like deal with this stuff if I keep going. But like everything lasted. Like even my like shocks, I had some like I had some times where I had friends who were like running either a full loop or a part of a loop with me or whatever. So for like 2 different times, I would leave my headphones back at the bar, charge them back up. And like, you know, me and Molly like ran a couple loops together. And then I'd come back and then they're like totally fine. You know what I mean? But like those, I was impressed. Like they went, because I did like I think it was probably like 14, 15 hours long, just a playlist of just like stuff. I didn't my whole thing with this type of stuff is like you don't want to have to use your brain. Now, unfortunately, this was like the opposite of that for a huge amount of it, like because you had to use your brain.
You had to
but
figure
like
out where to
that's the
go.
course, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I did OSR 30 was my other like big race this year, which was like 3 months ago or whatever. That is a checkpoint race around Manhattan. But for example, I ran like a mile longer than like the winners and other people who did it, because you could make a choice where the last checkpoint is like the northernmost spot in Manhattan, and then the next one is the South Street Sea or the Staten Island Ferry like door. So for me, I just ran down the west side on like the path where there's no cars, there's no nothing for like 13 miles and could turn my brain off. I had my friends Lisa, Duncan, Ryan were with me just talking about like random stuff, like whatever. And I felt like that really like helped me in that race, because I'm like, yo, you don't have to like think about stuff. Like when I run, you know, the United Half, the New York Marathon, like anything in Central Park, like these things I've done a bunch of times. I'm like, if I'm running the loop in Central Park, I, like you were saying earlier, I've done it 1,000, like whatever times. Like I know where the stuff is, what it's going to be, and you can turn your brain off. This like is the total complete opposite of like, you can't turn your brain off. And like, if you do, it's like gonna get dangerous. So the way that like the race worked was there was this app that you had on your phone, and you had to, when you got to the boathouse, you had to hit your phone. You had to hit a button in the app, go near like something that was under duct tape. I'm not sure like what the technical term is, but there was a physical object there. And if your phone got close enough to it, it would like check off in the app. So, and then like, because I'm crazy, always within like 30 seconds, I would be like, oh, let me like look at the app again to make sure that it like checked off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it seems like I like overheard, you know, the organizers were very liberal with everything. I don't think they were like kicking people out if like they're having issues with the app or whatever. But like, you know, I'm a rule follower. I was just trying to get like everything done. You know what I mean? So I did that, and then coming back, like I did the final one, and then like you physically like hit a button, like I'm leaving the race, like in the app. So like did that, and then that was like when it was, you know, like officially out. But like that last lap, like it got a lot more difficult with like the cops and stuff. Like Austin had to come like get me through a barricade at one point. He was like dropping a captain's name or something, being like, you know, so-and-so said we could like do this. We had like bracelets. So it was, my mind was not working enough to like, I think I wouldn't have made it back in time if like that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? And like but it became on that last lap as I was going up through Times Square, and then especially like to the park, were really the first times that like I stopped a couple times. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll just like go back. Like I've already surpassed anything I've ever done, like goal wise, whatever. There were a couple laps earlier when Austin was like, you know, there's like 20 of you guys left. That's when it became like, oh, that's crap. Like this is like real. Like, okay, like I'm like, because that was really like kind of what my goal was like, I just wanted to like compete in this thing and like have it be like that I gave it a good go. And then when it was like, all right, yo, I'm in like the top 20 of like this field, which is like, there's people who I thought were going to win who tapped 3 hours ago. You know what I mean? Like there's like, you know, because just stuff goes sideways. Like a lot of times, like you just have a bad lap, something happens. You know, I heard anecdotally, you know, people had stomach issues, like whatever, that can just like end your thing. Like, you know, if like stuff happens or whatever. So like, So, you know, I was so I'm like, I'm already like whatever, but I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm more than like halfway through this like first leg to the checkpoint. I might as well just like go do it. Like whatever. If I want to tap, I'm gonna tap. All my stuff is back at the bar anyway. So it's like I might as well like get back there. And then like at one point I like, was like seeing spots a little bit and like feeling a little lightheaded. So I'm like, all right, let me calm down. And like, this is a shout out to prior of your guests, Kat. But like, I told Kate beforehand, like, I am not gonna have a race like Kat, which like, she once famously did not make it through a New York City marathon, and woke up in a hospital room and stuff like that. So like, I was not. That was like truly the goal is like, don't do anything dumb, because like, this is a format that you could like do something dumb. You know what I mean? Like if you don't like know your body or whatever. So I was like, I'm not going to like whatever. Coming back, it wound up that like a few of like my best friends paused the Knicks game, came out. It was Susan, Brian, Pam, Justin, like had popsicles and stuff, and like ran a little bit with me. And they were the first people I told like out loud. I was like, yeah, I'm tapping after this one. Like,
I'm done.
Thank you for all the support. You do not have to worry about it. Susan actually lives like kind of close to the bar. I was like, because I didn't know if that was part of it, is I didn't know if I'd be able to get home, because now like the city is just on lockdown. There was a subway station, like there's the Times Square station, which had an entry like on the block, but like I saw barricade, like I didn't know, like are they letting people just like use that, like because it was like I'm not going to Times Square on New Year's, but like that's what people were comparing it to, it was just like locked down, and like we're right there. So like, but Susan lived like 10 blocks away, and I'm like, yo, if I can't get home, like I'm coming to your house, like I'm showering Brian, you're giving me clothes, like I'm just like I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, because like I'm not running anymore, and like,
I'm not running home.
To get like exactly, like I need to
normally
just, like,
you
get
would
somewhere.
yeah,
absolutely, for sure.
It's so crazy.
It's
so crazy.
But it wound up like, so I tapped. They did several hours of running just on the street that the bar was on while everything happened around us. I think I said earlier, and like
just back and forth, right?
Like back and forth. I got home. I wound up really like everything worked out like super well getting home. Kate, my girlfriend, was coming back via the train that goes under Times Square. So she just got off at the platform. I was able, like one of the awesome bouncers at the Printer's Alley, like helped me get to the back and like get my stuff. So like I had everything. I was like, shit, I might have to come back tomorrow, like to get my stuff, because like the Knicks, it was packed out, and I mean this was like early third quarter of the Knicks game. Like I mean it was people were going nuts on every single shot, like whatever. So, but I was able to get all my stuff, get out of there, get through the subway, and then Kate was on the platform. So like then I had help like the rest of the way. So I got home and was just like, you've done like these long distances. Like I was able to shower, and then I just like laid in bed, threw I have like the Normatec boots. So I threw those on at like the highest setting, was wired, not tired at all. And like the Knicks game was like probably 2 minutes left, was like all I watched of that. I'm not like I'm a Celtics fan. I don't care about the Knicks, like good for them, but like it wasn't something I was really like invested in.
Oh my goodness.
So I was just like, but I threw it on. No, like all my friends are, about to be really happy.
Last 2 minutes.
So like, yeah, absolutely. It's great. So I threw it on, watched like 2 minutes as I was just like looking at my phone, which like for the first time, I'm like, oh my God, phone time. You know what I mean? Like I had like, there was a thing in the app, which was cool. Like people could send you voice notes, which like I've never done a thing, but like people did that, and I'd get like a notification. So like I listened to some of those, especially when, like 14 hours in, hearing like my drunk friends out in like Montauk. It's like, oh, this rules. Like this is great. Like this is, whatever. I had friends who were like Kat and Vlad were at a wedding, like, so like, during the reception, like they, chimed in or whatever. So it's like, that's fantastic. So funny. Like, nothing more than I wanted to like, whatever. But like, I wasn't like looking on my phone. I didn't see like anything. Right. And then it was also like, so, everyone has like the group chats with the stupid names or whatever, like, is like, I feel like just a cliche or whatever. So like my main running group chat is Slow Winter Runners. That was probably started like 3 years ago, when we're like, oh, we're all about the same pace, like I guess that we should like do our 6 a.m. runs together type thing. And now it's just all of us are just like super close or whatever. So like
I love
that group chat is like my main, like, day-to-day like running thing. And like all of them were just constantly like, sending me well wishes. A bunch of them who were in the city for the weekend, like, joined me on the course, either for like actual, like, I was planned, like me and my friend Molly ran like 2 of the loops together, or like my buddy Martin would just like be at it's like the Magnolia Bakery, like across from Columbus Circle, was like just the spot where like I would see one of like 3 people, because that just was like, okay, this is the spot we're going to be. You have to go this way on the course like every time. So like that would be key, just like seeing people. But like it was fun to like go back and like read the chat that they were having during the day, because like, my buddy Seamus came out like 10, 11 hours in and was like, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm here, like I wanted to like see what this all was or whatever. But he's like, also like, I just wanted to like check how you're doing it. Like I was talking, like I feel like I was really at that point still just being like, this is brutal, but like I'm fine. Like I was fine. I can clock these 11:30, 12-minute miles totally fine. And then like the last lap was like they had in the app, like I was 59:22 was my last lap, which means like I made it back with 30 seconds to spare. Like I would have been like tapped out of the race. Like that's the only thing you have to do is make it back. In that hour, you know what I mean? So like I was as close as you're going to get. And I mean, even on the one before that, I don't know how many times I hit 50 minutes. Like I think the one, Kate came and like, so I like spent time with her at the boathouse, but like, so it took me longer to get back because I used part of my break at the midpoint. But like, other than that, I don't think I have many other laps that were even like above 50. Like I was pretty consistently clocking just, 45, 50 minutes and just, you could go out and like do it. But like, so it was, if I didn't tap at that point, which I think was the healthy, like good decision to make, I think that decision was going to be made for myself if I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like Tom, the guy. So the next morning I woke up, slept terribly, couldn't fall asleep. My legs were just like cramping nonstop. The worst was I like finally like 1 a.m. fall asleep, like 1:45, wake up with just massive leg cramps. I'm up again for 40. Like it was freaking brutal. Got up out of bed at like 6:30, 7 a.m. And then for the next 8 hours, I just tracked the race, because when I woke up, there were, I think like maybe like 10 people made it to 24 hours.
That's crazy.
Which is like, so they were still going through the night and just kind of like seeing, I'm looking now. So 8 people made it past 24 hours. And then 5 people were left after that 24-hour one. Like 3 people dropped at 24. And that was like when I woke up, I think was like when that mile was ending. And then 5 people were going. So it was Vin Kennedy and Tom Garvey were the 2 guys who made it the longest. And then Anne-Marie Schumacher, who's like actually a friend of mine. She's like, I don't even know. I know she'll like occasionally run the shorter distance things, but she like just does ultras and just dominates them. She'd never done this format before, but she was definitely like one of my picks of being like, okay, like she could,
going for it.
like I won't be surprised. And like, I've now become friendly with like the 2 guys who like, went like 6 hours longer than she did. And like they both were like, she was the one we were scared of, because like she's just like, she posted a video on Instagram yesterday. It was so funny. It's like lap 25 or something, and she just sprints ahead of the two guys who ended up being like the two left with her. She's like, I was just trying to get in their head. I didn't know what I could do. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, that's so cool. Like,
that's
just
so
like,
cool. That is so badass, for real.
Yeah. So it was fun to like have an interest in what was happening. She and another guy finally tapped the same time, and then there were two, and I think they did 7 hours. Again, it was even hotter on Sunday. They changed the course. It was West Side Highway, so you went over to the West Side Highway, down past Chelsea Piers, and back.
So like that's just nice.
That would have been nice and flat, but like that's really exposed to sun is like what they were saying. Like, true. And I like totally see that. So it's like, I think the heat like really started. There's a video of the number 2 guy, like the course tapped him out. There's like a spot where finally he just like couldn't make it anymore. Like his body wasn't working. I think they like mandated that if you were going that long, like you had to have some sort of no one was running by themselves at that point because it's like dangerous.
No,
you're crossing
smart,
the actual West Side Highway. Like it's dangerous at that point.
Yeah.
He has like a great video of him tapping and just being like, I know I have given every and it's like, I get it, brother.
Wait, was he the one that he actually passed out on, or he was about to pass out on a crosswalk? Was that him?
Yeah. He's holding the barricade. That was after 32 laps. Like that was, he'd already completed double what I did, because the winner was double what I did plus a whole other lap, and then the second place did literally double what I did, and I did 67 2/3. So like, I'm not math, but that's like, you know what I mean. So
that's
he's at like 130 something miles when that video was taken. Like yeah. Like it's crazy. He just and he's like a dude who like wins triathlons and stuff. Like I don't know how much I don't think he'd ever done like this format before, but like he's a real deal like athlete. He was there to win. And
that's so cool.
This dude Vin Kennedy won, came back, took the jar home. Looked like he could have, really. I could have seen him going a lot more. Like he was.
I saw the pictures of him. He looked like unfazed.
Yeah. He was wild, and it was like. Yeah, and I mean, like, I remember, I know exactly, again, like, by the end, like, I knew who everyone in the top, 30, we all recognized, like, everyone knew, like, okay, you're the, we're all, maybe we're not running together, but we're running past each other. You're seeing everybody, you know what I mean? So, like, I knew exactly who he was, just in like, he was one of the guys doing it, but like, I mean, he was like just clockwork. Like wasn't sprinting these things. He was just being very smart, very controlled, like the whole time. It was, like those were the guys that like, ended up going the furthest, were the people who were just like, slow and controlled on stuff. They would do laps sometimes, which I think this was smart and fun if you're like top heavy in speed or whatever. They would do like the first 5 men and women in this lap get whatever, like get a prize pack from whatever, you know what I mean? Or they had cool. Like bathhouse spa over in Queens, like they had for the first man and first woman of a lap, like a full day and like all the stuff like from that.
So nice.
So it's like little like side quests like in the thing if you wanted to. For me, first of all, I'm not going to be able to like place in top 5 in that field with speed. Like if people are trying to do it, I do not have the speed to compete with these people. It's just not going to happen.
Maybe on fresh legs.
Maybe, but I don't know. Like you get some fast people at this unsanctioned stuff. Like I do a lot better in my placing always looks a lot better when I'm in a 10,000 person roadrunners race than like
me too.
These little unsanctioned things. They're the ones that bring in like, there's only a couple hundred of us, but like 100 of them are really fast. You know what I mean? And they're like there to win it. But like for me, I feel like that's draws you in to something that's not like what this is meant for, because it's like you're going to use more. Like to me, if I ever saw my watch I was going above 10 minutes, I stopped it. I started either walking or jogging, because I'm like, I do not need to run, like a good marathon, my pace is, low sevens. So like, I do not need to be anywhere close to like anything but like 3 minutes above my marathon pace. Like that's
right.
how, you do this or whatever. So,
That's why
it
you're
took like a
like,
lot of,
yeah, no, I know. That's why I was going to say your training with the walk running is so smart because it's so hard. I think I've talked about it a lot on this podcast. I think one of the hardest things when your marathon pace is like low sevens and you're so used to training and running low sevens, and then obviously the offshoot little races, 4 miler, 5Ks, whatever. But when you go to train for something like this, you legitimately have to force your body to slow down in training because it's so hard to replicate that during the race because you're so excited, the energy's high, everything is like, you just want to like go out there and get it done. And I feel like I have that mentality for a marathon. That was the hardest thing with the ultra, is that like you have to slow down and you have to keep it in check.
Nah, for sure. And I think like with this format, I think anyone who was there for the long haul was doing the same thing as me to an extent. Like maybe their slow pace, there are people there who I know their marathon pace is a full minute ahead of mine. You know what I mean? So maybe they're running nines, but their 9 is mine. You know what I mean? So like people were being disciplined in check. You'd see there were a handful of people who ran, 4 laps, 3 laps, like who were just there, had an entry, and they were just there to do it. They were sprinting, doing stuff like whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. When you got into like noontime and on, especially that like, 11 p.m. to 5 p.m. stretch where it was like at its worst, everyone was the same thing. We would all, kind of shuffle more than anything. You know what I mean? Like we were all kind of doing the same thing. And like, it would just be kind of like a march up of like all of us together through the Times Square portion, because like we all were going the same way. We all were doing the same thing. And like, this is a solo thing. There's no teams involved in this, but like, that's when you would be like, okay, I'm going to be better if I pod in with these 8 people who are doing the exact same thing I'm doing. Cause then the 8 of us can annoy people, make some space, go around. If they're running through traffic, I can at least do that, so there was a lot of that. And then you'd get to the park and then it's like, okay, then I can do my own thing. Like if I wasn't running like with a friend, for the most part, I stuck to myself. I had like a really long playlist that I would just like turn up my headphones, especially like once I was in the park. Like it's shocks so you can hear the stuff around you. But like in Times Square, like I would have it on like the volume 1 because I'm like, I really need to pay attention here. Like I don't, like I'm going to be safe. This is not a time to do like a stupid thing or like whatever. You know what I mean? But like once I'm in the park, I'm like, I'm fine. I'm just gonna, blast out, Tyler or whatever, and just like had the thing with the music, but then also was like, I can finally really be controlled. And it was like, I'm not going to say it was the hilliest course you're ever going to see, especially in the ultra world, but like there were a couple spots, like, 7th Avenue is up one way, down the other way. And then like the way that we went in Central Park, there were like a couple times that you're on hills. And I definitely did the like, especially once I was past like, 6, 7, 8 laps for the day, was I am walking up this hill. I am, going to stop, get water first, and then walk up the hill and then walk 10 more feet before I start jogging again. Like you're not going to like let any of that stuff beat you, because there's like no reason to. Like there's no reason to give any extra like output. So I'm like, I'd rather spend an extra minute but to have it be easy than like come back and be like catching my breath. And like I never really felt like bad like in the first 13, 14 laps. Like I would come back and really feel okay and just be like, okay, like everything's starting to feel harder, but like the fact that I made it through like the heat without it like knocking me out, I was like, okay, I've at least now the next 12 hours are going to be better than what I just went through, like in terms of the weather or whatever, you know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Because it was like, I remember joking like with a friend, like the two things this format's so crazy and it's so rough and like whatever, but like the two variables were going to be the weather and the course.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not gonna say it's the worst weather ever, but like, I mean, that was pretty bad. And I mean, the
Yeah.
course is crazy. So it was like,
I mean,
we're
it was
just gonna,
hot. It was
it's
hot.
gonna be expert mode. Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, like, the day before was 10 degrees hotter and more humid. Like, I knew it's in June. It's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
be 42 and cloudy. But like, so I was kind of expecting it's going to be like mid 70s or whatever. And then it was just mid 80s and just sunny completely. You know what I mean? So it like,
Mm-hmm.
it was bad. But being mid June, you never know. Like, I mean, we've had 100-degree days already. Like, I was just glad
Right.
it wasn't
But then it's like
bad.
65 the next day.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah,
just
no,
never know.
it's a beautiful thing, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
No,
So
you
like,
don't.
but I
You
was
don't ever
really
know.
just like, when there would be the hot days, because I trained through all this stuff, I would just be like, oh damn, like if
Mm-hmm.
the 13th is 98 degrees, 100% dew point, like whatever, like that's gonna be really rough. You know what I mean?
Right. What would
Or
have been
like,
your plan, do you think? If it was like that hot, were you thinking
I
about
would
that
have
or were
done
you
it.
like, whatever?
There is no, I think unless I was physically injured, like I was gonna do the race and just kind of like see how it would have gone. I guess like I probably would have tried to more do 55-minute loops and just like whatever. But like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much my strategy would have changed for 100-degree versus what I was doing in 87-degree when I was,
Right.
doing the stuff.
Right.
Like I was just, I still can't like bring myself to think of drinking an LMNT because I had so much of like that type
Mm-hmm.
stuff, like trying to get the sodium, try to like get the, like I did the research, was trying to do all that stuff kind of like the right way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh my God, like this is, this is the stuff that can get you is like,
I
if you
know.
get dehydrated, if you like whatever. So, but yeah, so I tried to do all that stuff. Ice was big. I had like a bag of ice back there. I would just bring like a plastic bag with it and just
Mm-hmm.
like put it, like I ran, I
Oh,
was
yeah.
shirtless. Sunscreen was because I was shirtless for like 10 hours of this race. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I would throw a tank top on before I went back in the bar just because like I'm indoors in a place like that.
Yeah, like I'm gonna put a shirt on.
That this is like, whatever.
Yeah.
But like no one cared and there were plenty of people who weren't. Like I would have been fine, but that was like my only like thing. So like I had one like
I know,
on my
me too.
hip.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, but like so sunscreen was huge. I was thrilled I didn't burn like even one bit. Like I was militant about it, but like I was glad like that worked out.
Thank God,
And
because
then
that will
like,
wreck you.
yeah. No, my God, I know that was one of my biggest fears was,
Mm-hmm.
so like I did that. I was able to, at like 6 hours, I changed like my shoes and socks, which was like, I
Mm-hmm.
think just a nice quick reset. I changed my shorts at one point. Like there was just like little like things I was able to do
Mm-hmm.
throughout to at least like feel like I wasn't dying. But like the fact I didn't burn or nothing was big because that was definitely
Yeah.
one of my biggest fears was like a sunburn. And you'd
Yeah.
see like I think people were crazy with the sunscreen, like all around. That would be a thing. Like
Yeah.
people would make sure, all right, do you have food, water, something like these are the things that like we're gonna worry about right now. But like people
Mhm.
were very aggressively on top of that because it was just no clouds, no nothing.
Yeah, that's insane. When you
yeah.
so you like pre-portioned your snacks, right, and your fuel.
Yeah.
What was your strategy there, and what was in each bag? Was it the same, or did you change them up?
Switched up a little bit. So I had food. I'm like pulling up because I have this stuff on like a document. So like I had food kind of loose. I brought stuff like bagels with butter and like just like stuff that like I knew would be good. Kate made these like homemade peanut butter cup things that's just chocolate and tons of peanut butter and chocolate chip cookies, which are actually like packed with both like sodium and carbs and like whatever. So those were all like available whenever. And then I made these bags that had like 600, I'm looking, it was like 600 calories, 100 to 150 carbs, and like 500 milligrams of sodium
Mm-hmm.
to at least like every couple hours eat everything in those bags to just know that I was getting like some sort of baseline level of like nutrition that can like keep me in, like because like
Yeah.
not only do you have to like eat a lot, but like Like I'm 6'4". Like I need to like skew stuff up on like anything that you read because like my body
Right.
weight is higher than like, a lot of these
Right.
people are like little
Right.
tiny, like, whatever. Like, so like I needed to make sure I was like being proactive about that. And it wound up being like, I would totally kind of switch up how I did it. First of all, like pretzels got stale being in with like other stuff. So that became a
Yeah.
thing. But like,
Yeah.
I think I need more variety if I do this again. And I think like what I really should have done is like early afternoon had like some sort of bigger meal. Cause like
Mhm.
I always meant to do that. I never did it. Like there was like a McDonald's nearby. The bar had food. Like I should have just gotten like chicken fingers and fries or something from the bar to just like be able to eat down like 1,000 calories real quick of something.
Right.
And like I
Right.
never did that, which I kind of regret. But again, like anything I would have done nutritionally maybe would have added like another hour for me or something. But it's like if I ever
Yeah.
try to do something like this again, like and compete, like I think if I could get into the Dollar Ultra next year, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'm not going to tell you that I am gonna full on, like I'm sure I will, but like like I couldn't like commit to like doing the insane training cycle I just did over again. But like if
Right.
I ever tried to like go 24 hours or something in a race like this, I would absolutely totally change up like the nutrition and stuff just to
Yeah.
like I think that's such an important part of it. And like, that's just a really hard thing to master on these long things. Happened to me on my 50 miler too. Like, when stuff got bad, part of it was just like I couldn't take food in. OSR 30, I couldn't eat like the last like 10 miles. Like, it's a thing I need to address because I think it's like, we all know like you run marathons, like that last gel that you do at whatever it is,
Ugh.
like 21, 20, whatever,
So gross.
that's brutal enough. But like, imagine if you're then going, you then got to do another 10 miles or this. A friend said this to me and I like almost was like, no, you're wrong. That can't be. Like, I did a marathon and then 40 more miles. You know what I mean? So it's like like it's a marathon. That was like, I can't tell you how good I was feeling when I hit a marathon. I'm like, oh my God, this is like, whatever. Yeah,
please.
like,
I know how it is.
cake. Like, yeah, man, geez, marathon. Oh my God. But like, and then, but like, when you get later on in that stuff, like it is
it's so bad.
I truly like respect the people who can do like, it's a nutrition game and like, you got to figure out like how to do that and how your body's not going to like break down.
I know.
And how your body's like not going to like reject food. Like I came home, I didn't eat at all. Like I think I had like one of like Kate's like peanut butter cup with chocolate because like that's just tastes good no matter what. So I'm like, I know that my body is not going to like reject this. And like I knew I needed to eat. I just literally couldn't. I knew I needed electrolytes and stuff. I could not drink like an LMNT. So like I took some like salt stick pills, which at least have like the chemicals in them that you have lost throughout the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like was trying to be proactive, but I'm like, there's nothing I can do. The next morning, I like had no appetite at all. Like when I woke up, and then at like 10 o'clock, it was like a light switch went on. I'm starving. So like I got like just a big ass burger from like the French place on my corner and just, inhaled that, had like a couple cocktails, and then just went back home and was horizontal until bedtime. Like I think I napped at one point for like 2 hours or whatever, but like never felt like rested until like Tuesday night. You know what I mean? Like it was just like it's it messes with your body so much. Like even a marathon will do that to me. Like it's such a cliche. People will be like, "Oh my God, you're gonna sleep so well, like the night of like this big stuff." And it's like, no, you're not.
It's actually the worst night's sleep you're ever
It's
gonna
gonna
have.
be horrific. I might as well have had 17 drinks. Like that's how well I'm gonna sleep. Is like if that happens. It's like a couple days later you'll be good. And then it's also like you're gonna be hungry tonight. It's like nah, like my body is just like is insane right now. Like it's just
Yeah.
not working. So like,
Mhm.
but eventually you do catch up. So like, I had like a burger, ice cream sundae, and like 3 slices of Mama's 2 pizza in a
Yeah, of
matter of like
course.
7 hours. You know what I mean?
That's
Like just like,
that's
all right, like I'm just,
crazy. But
yeah.
I
And then like,
respect it. I get it.
no, but like, and still feeling like hungry. You know what I
Hungry,
mean?
I
Like,
know.
and just like still snacking and like, whatever. Cause it's like, I did my Strava. I chose just for like battery life or whatever. I would do the lap. So if you look at my Strava feed for that day, there's 16 posts because I'm like, I'm sorry, but like this is the best way like for me to do it because like I
Yeah.
can now turn my watch off, I can charge it, like whatever. A lot of people had the Strava post that's like 25 laps of it or whatever, and you look and they burn 28,000 calories. Like it's no matter what I was taking in. Like I hopped on the scale before the race and after the race just out of curiosity, and I was 12 pounds lighter than I was before I left my house
That's
on
insane.
like the same morning. Yeah, like from like I jumped on the scale, let's say at like 4:30 in the morning. I like took a shower when I woke up to like wake me up, and I was just like curious because I was like, let's see, like whatever. Because like this is different, when you're training. Like I peaked at like 110 miles. When I'm going up above like 60, 70 miles, like that's when I do go back to like jumping on the scale a decent amount. And it's
Yeah.
only to make sure
To
that I'm
see,
like
yeah.
taking in enough calories, because that's the type of thing where like, oh crap, like I lost like 6 pounds this week because I'm just like not eating enough. And it's like,
I know.
like I'm not, like weight is like whatever, but like with this distance stuff, I do not want to. I want to come into this race looking so different than coming into like a marathon that I'm trying to do a 3:05 in. That's a very different situation
Right.
than I'm
right.
trying to run for 100 miles. I want to be able to
It's
get through
so
those
true.
12, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But like that was a thing that I was really like proactive about. I ate so much like leading up to this, and it's just like,
No, you have to.
I still just like, I feel physically recovered. Like I'm gonna try. I will not run until Monday under any circumstances. Like I am a firm believer of at the end of a cycle, a full week off. Like Coach Devin, who's like the head coach of Central Park Track Club, that is one of her like things that she like even if you're doing a half is your goal race, it doesn't matter. If you go through a training cycle, and like I have more or less been in training for like all of 2026, because like I did OSR 30 in the end of March, I want to say it was. I took a week off because it was a brutal race, or I took like 5 days off or something. And then I've been back in, like I built right back up and went above 70, 80 miles a week for a long time. Peaked up at 110. So I'm like, I'm done. Like I've got stuff on the calendar, but there's nothing I care about for a long time. And that's by design. It was like, I would have loved if like I could have spaced out my 2 races for the year, like a little bit more. But I was just like, I'm just going to kind of lean into this, try to make it a long cycle. And then I am doing stuff for fun for the rest of the year. Like for anything that I do.
No,
I'm not going to say like if I wake up feeling good, I might, like I love going out and doing something stupid in a race, like a 10K. Too. Yeah, like a 10K, whatever. Like I'll go out, I'll blow up at mile 3, be like, all right, whatever, jog it out.
Fuck it.
I don't
Who cares?
care. So like, that's going to be every race I do for the rest of the year. I guarantee you, I will tell people that I'm going to fun run New York. I'm going to wake up the day in New York and be like, all right, let's break 3. Let's go. And then, make it 3 miles, and then, be jogging it out for the rest of the way.
And be dying.
Like, yeah, I can do that any day of the week. It's just like, I'm not doing anything like crazy for a while. I'm not going to have like anything that I'm training for. Like I will go to Central Park Track Club practices. I'm mentoring with Team for Kids. So like I go to a lot of their practices. But like I go to Central Park Track Club because I'm a masochist, but like this is how I have fun. Is just like I like running with my friends at 6 o'clock in the morning on Tuesdays. Like it's a weird way if you don't have to, but like I mean, Kat is not training for anything. She's there every Tuesday morning, whatever. It's just like, I get it, man. It's like the most fun, like, thing that you can do, and, whatever. So I'll still do that stuff, but like, be at the back. I'm always at the back of the pace group, but not like I'll be, like in the, in the back, like just kind of chilling and, whatever. So I'm looking forward to just like some time. And like, if I can do it, my next race is Pride, which is like 10 days from now or something. It's like that's a week from this coming Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if I could, I would love for that to be my first race back. Like my first run back. Like I already have my bib and stuff, so I don't even have to like get it. So like if I can make it there, that's basically 2 weeks, which is, I've done that once before, is like my longest amount of time off.
I feel like that's going to be a good choice.
Yeah. Like I think that's what I should do, is just like take the time and like mentally, get back to normal, because this has been a wild cycle. You know what I mean?
I've been looking at your Strava and your text, and I get I feel like I get the behind the scenes, so I get a fun look at everything that you've been doing. And you're like, I'm gonna fun run the Brooklyn half, and then I'm gonna go do like another 15 miles, and I'm just making that up, but you definitely did.
No, but I ran. No, you're wrong. But I ran to the Brooklyn half.
Then
I ran the Brooklyn half. Right. I ran 11 miles from my apartment at 4 o'clock in the morning to the Brooklyn half, and then I ran like a 1:36 or something. Like I was like, damn. I mean, that's insane. That was one of those like, all right, I'm starting to feel fit. Like, all right, and I did, whatever. So like, no, but I did like stuff like that because that's a race. I didn't care about how I did, but I didn't want to miss it because it's a really fun day, and like, it's a fun day to just party after. Yeah. So like, I was like, all right, I don't want, how can I like do this? And I'm like, okay, how I do this is wake up at 3:30 in the morning and run there and make it my long run. And that's the answer. And it's, you seem like a crazy person, but like,
I mean, whatever. We love what we do. This sport
is
crazy. It keeps us on our toes.
It is.
But again, I feel like I got the behind the scenes view at all the things you were doing. And I just love to see it because it motivates me. I know it motivates everybody else. I'm so proud of you for taking on the Dollar Ultra. I will be doing it next year. That's a promise. If I get in.
Love it. You should.
I'll fill out the Google form again where they ask what you're running from. And I say,
here's the actual dollar, the bib. Yeah. Our bib was an actual dollar. That was safety pin to us throughout the day. So that was, No, it's the only bib I'll keep. I'm gonna add that up with like on my board with medals and stuff like that. But
you should.
No, it was the best. You would absolutely crush it. And it's just like, I couldn't recommend more, like, for anyone to at least like look into, even if you're not going to do this, like the unsanctioned races, especially in New York, are so fun. Like do an Orchard Street runner race, do any of that type stuff. Like it's so fun. And it's just like, it's so different. Like, it's just so like different. You need to completely change up every view you have of this stuff. But like, it is worth doing because it's such a different thing. And it's something that like, I think people are like afraid to do, but like, I've made more friends. Like, I'm a pretty social guy, especially like in the running space. Like I feel comfortable, like, all right, you're my people if like you're doing this thing. But especially with like this unsanctioned stuff, I've made so many friends from all over the country and the world who have the same mentality of, this is, people came from 4 different countries to do the $1 Ultra. People came from all over the United States. Like, this wasn't just a normal, it's like, this wasn't just the normal, okay, this is the 50 people I see everywhere type thing. Now they're all doing it too, so I recognize all them. But it's like, this is like a thing where if you're coming and doing this, I'm like, all right, there's a pretty substantial chance we're going to get along and like, whatever. And like universally, every single person I met, the 2 guys who organized it, who like, I didn't know either of them. We have like friends of friends and like mutual friends and stuff. We're just so nice and helpful. Every competitor was helpful with everyone. People were giving nutrition back and forth. Like there was never, I'm not saying that, you show up to like a road runners race and there's like, sometimes people are like, oh, I'm going out to like, it's not really like that, but it's also like I felt far more comfortable with just like everyone around at this, that everyone's on the same page and everyone's cool. So I would highly recommend anybody jump in something that is not just like the biggest race organization in your area, which those are great too. I still do all those, but like do some other stuff, because it's like it's a fun thing, and there's a running boom, and maybe there's a lot of other options that you can do out there.
Yeah. But, it rejuvenates my love for running every single time I do something smaller, or like a smaller organization or an ultra like this. Just every single time, I feel like lights a fire under my ass to do something more fun and more unique.
In the ultra space, every stereotype, every meme is completely true. You're getting lapped by 82-year-old women, and it's not just like the lean little bodies that you see winning marathons. It is everything, and everyone's just as good, because it is just a totally different thing. And you get into this world, it's wild. And I mean,
it's so fun. It's so fun to watch. It's so fun to be a part of. But
it is. Yeah, the community is really cool, and it's you meet a lot of cool people, and it's worth trying. I think I understand completely why ultras scare people, but I also think that the support and stuff that you get, the person who wins an ultra is gonna sit and chat with you if you're in 400th place because you did the same thing. There's no change. There's no differentiation in this stuff. Everyone's going to be just as cool. My ultra that I did, my 50 miler that went sideways for me, Austin, the dude who put on this race, was the winner of that race. And he was trying to break the course record that day. It's a full circle of all this stuff. It's a very small little community, of people who are going to do this type thing. But, I feel like it's getting a little bit of press. It was in Runner's World, which was wild.
So
Runner's
awesome.
World did which was also cool. Let me shout out. I wrote down this guy, Federico Barrio. It's Federico Barrio Nuevo is his Instagram. Federico was there the entire time. He stayed overnight, took pictures the entire time, and just gave us all access to them. So it was 2,000 pictures that he took throughout the day. He did a bunch of the laps early on and had his camera and just did God's work doing that. But Runner's World used his pictures. And then they what the Runner's World article was, a lot of it seemed because I'm happy they gave him credit, but my buddy Evan runs a Instagram account, Substack, called Runners of NYC blog. And he is really keeps in touch with the local running scene, the non big races, whatever, and does these amazing interviews with people. And he's already done interviews with the winner. He did this whole lead up to the Dollar Ultra thing, and Runner's World quoted big parts of his post in their little article, which was really cool. I'm hoping that's good for both those guys. But it was really cool seeing that there. Evan is a buddy, and he's a Central Park teammate. So it was cool seeing him out, but it was no surprise that he would be out there covering this. And Federico was just, everywhere with that camera, and got it, the ways. Yeah. It was really cool. And I think that's it's fun to have this stuff documented. A lot of people took I don't know how to make a video or whatever, but there's so much cool content that came from this race, that we were talking the guy who tapped out, his fiance was taking videos of him cross that's who good. Was taking. It's so funny, but it's you do it for the content. He's a guy, I think he has sponsorships and stuff. I'm sure it's good to get views on your videos and stuff, but
100%.
there's a lot of there's a lot of cool little things of people who came and did 5 miles, or even people who just saw that we were running. People would just be taking pictures, whatever, in Times Square, just being what the hell is going on? Because it was a very cool thing to be part of, and recommend anything in that world to anybody.
Love it.
But
Tim, thank you for sharing all of these amazing things, and everybody follow Harlem Hill Runner on Instagram.
That's right, Harlem Hill Runner on Instagram. I will go back to now running elevation now that this foolish little thing is over. So
That's right.
thank you very much,
Tim. You're
always,
the best.
Always fun to do this. My favorite thing to do, and
Me too.
I will see you soon.
I will see you so soon. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. You already know what I'm going to say. What a track. Huge thanks to Tim for coming back on the show and sharing what it was really like to take on the $1 Ultra. Huge thank you to Tim for also sharing a little bit behind the scenes with me before we even recorded this. This seemed like one of those races that reminds you running doesn't always have to be about chasing a PR, but sometimes it's about embracing the unknown and seeing just how far you're willing to go. But if you thought today's story was wild, just wait until next week. I will be sitting down with Vin Kennedy, the winner of this year's $1 Ultra, to hear what it takes to be the last runner standing, how he approached over 130 miles of running, and what was going through his mind as the field got smaller and smaller, and when he took home the big bucket of $1 bills. You will not want to miss next week's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did, be sure to share it with a friend, tag Tim and me on social media, and let us know what your favorite part was. And if you haven't already, hit follow on _Allie G Show on Instagram, at Harlem Hill Runner on Instagram, so that next week's episode is waiting for you the moment it drops, and you can follow along with Tim and all of his runs. Thank you, as always, for hanging out with me. Keep moving, keep showing up for yourself, and I will catch you on the next track of the Allie G Show. Bye.